There you go.
There we go. What's up? What's up, everybody? What's up, Brett? How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. What's up, everybody? What's up? All right. Hope everyone's having a good day. What up, Childish? How are you, my friend? What's up, Elijah? What's up, my friend? All my friends. All my friends. All my friends. What's up, amigos? What's up? Rambo. I love when Rambo pops up. What it do, Mike? What's up? What's up, my big sky boy? Happy birthday. Yo, happy birthday. Make sure you email the email group email so I can send you something, my guy. Happy birthday to you. You drink Starbucks? You like coffee? What's your thing? What are you into? Make sure you send me an email, my guy. Any other birthdays out there? What up, Michelle from San Diego? How you feel? What up, Teddy? A great win. It was a great win. Teddy, you know I'm bringing you up on the stage later on today. So you're about to be part of the conversation. Yes, you are, Teddy. I'm so happy for you. Go Canes. Great feedback to the kids on Sway early. Oh, thank you, Childish. I thought that was important for me to really try to do my best just to give them some advice. I think it's great that the kids so young are interested in doing podcasting that early and hope finding their voice. I think it only help them in the future as they are trying to find their voice in life too, as well, not just in the media landscape of podcasting. Okay, tea it is. Yeah, tea it is. Let us know you like tea when you send me the email, if you don't mind, my guy. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the kids. We love the kids. We absolutely love the kids. So that was always a plus. Yo, I'm just so excited. Today is Friday. I'm so excited we're doing this double header. But this is just a fun thing that we wanted to do. There was so much to unpack around sports that we didn't get a chance to unpack it all. And there was just not a lot of time to do it. So we wanted to make sure that we did this today. But I'm hoping it's all good. It's all good. I'm ready to have some fun and keep it light. I always forget about Instagram. It's for Instagram. I think when I hit live on Instagram, but I hit it, I'm thinking that it's circling, but it's actually not circulating on Instagram. But you know, I got to be patient. Patience is a key, and I'm just not a patient person. I'm working on that. I am working on that.
Resolution for 2026?
Huh?
Is that a resolution for 2026?
I don't think it's a resolution for 2026 patience, because I think I've been trying to deal with patience for so long. I think I've given up on patience, right? It kind of like just is what it is. It is what it is, people. I'm excited that I finally get to catch you live. Oh, I'm so happy that you are here with us live on this special edition of a double header. We're trying out some new things. We're still testing things out on how there's like, do we do two times per week, one time per week? We're thinking about the time. I didn't get a chance to really promote the MuseRoom today heavy, which is fine. And so people are not thinking on the Friday. I'm thinking on a Wednesday. So I'm just trying to figure out we're just trying to figure out the data and the cadence, but what we know is we're excited, and what we know is we want to do more, and we know we want to come to you more, and then we're even playing around with times. We're enjoying the 1 o'clock slot. We're thinking about an evening slot too as well. But the challenge for me with the evening slot is I do ABC in the evenings, and so it's really trying to the difficulty of like trying to balance that out. And so I don't know. What are you guys thinking? Do you like twice a week? Particularly people in here are core. Do you guys like 2 times a week? Are you guys good with the 1 o'clock? Should we do it evening? Yeah, we love feedback. So we want some feedback here. Because you guys are with us too as well as we grow and figure out. What's up, John? How are you, sir? It's good to see you. Oh, good, Maria. I'm so glad the IG is sending you notifications. Hagwood Worldwide say this is good at 1 o'clock. Good. I'm so happy to hear about that one. Russell Reddick, hello. What's up, Russell Reddick? Friday, what's up? I'm enjoying the doubleheader, Mike. Happy New Year to all the Newsroom. I'm good with the 1 p.m. Center time. Good. Okay, that seems to be a consensus, which we're really, really happy about. That makes me smile, actually. Zan, 1 o'clock. Okay. All right. Well, look, that's enough for me. Because if my core likes that 1 o'clock, then that's what we're going to do is keep it at the 1 o'clock, if that's what the core likes. So I am happy about that one. All right. So what do you guys want to talk about? Anything sports-related you want to talk about? And then let me know who your teams are and who's in the chat with the teams and what you guys are thinking about and all that fun stuff. So on the agenda and itinerary for today is I just want to do a really quick recap of what happened in Congress yesterday. It's going to be super quick, just a quick round robin about what happened in Congress today. And then I want to talk about college football that took place yesterday. I stayed up late watching that last night. And then tonight is going to be another late night watching some good college football. And then I want to talk about NIL and the NIL deals and where we are with that and what that's looking like. And then we're going to talk about the revolving door that is a transfer portal for both the players and the coaches. Then we also too are going to talk about wild card weekend. It is the NFL playoffs wild card weekend. This is the moment that we've kind of all been waiting for, right? If you're an NFL fan, if you are a sports fan, just in general, particularly a football fan, this is your weekend, right, Kat? It's like you got college is in the playoffs, NFL is in the playoffs. This is peak. And what I get nervous about is it's all coming to an end in a couple of weeks, which makes me sad. And then it's like, what do we do? I feel like football is roping me in more and more and deeper, right, Kat? To the point where I used to love basketball, but I don't know, the NBA, the too early, too many games. And in NBA, you guys got to do something about the Christmas days. I used to check in with you guys on Christmas Day, and that's when I really checked in for the NBA. So my schedule went like this, right? Like fall is all about football. I'll do one check-in with the NBA, like somewhere mid-fall, just to see what the teams are looking like, what the players looking like. And then I always just locked in on Christmas Day. Maybe I'll watch a football game, but I just locked in to NBA all day Christmas. And then Netflix entered the chat. Beyonce entered the chat with the NFL Christmas Bowl, the Beyonce Bowl on Christmas Day, and we forgot that the NBA was on. Our household, we kept Netflix and football all day. And I thought the NBA would have learned their lesson and like went after a major artist for this year's NBA Christmas Day. Like at this point, you got to like remove me.
Snoop Dogg on Christmas Day?
Netflix, I said NBA.
Oh, NBA.
Yeah. So Netflix doubled down and got Snoop Dogg and Andre Bocelli and all the people. It's like the NBA, y'all had a year to book a guest. Y'all could have booked, I don't know, Dua Lipa. I mean, I don't know, Sabrina Carpenter. I mean, I don't know. I guess Kendrick did a Super Bowl. I don't know. NBA, I'm just saying, y'all could have booked somebody because you got Bruno Mars. New single, like to draw us away as best you can from like the Netflix, because I'm just getting deeper into the NFL world and ecosystem. It's kind of getting hard to get back out. And so now this football season will be over. I'm checking for All-Star. And then March Madness comes in. But then in March, I'm all about college basketball because it's March Madness. And why not? Everybody do brackets and pools. And I'm concerned because it's basically personal. All I'm saying is it's drawing me further away from LeBron James. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like being away from my king. What up, king? Well, LeBron. LeBron, talk to me about, guy. What can we do in order to get the NBA to do better by you, my friend? Right? Like at this point, LeBron, you deserve better. And LeBron, you know all the entertainers. You could book somebody. And yes, I'm talking directly to you, LeBron, hoping one day you'll see this. You know, every entertainer, every rapper, every artist, man, you gotta book somebody for Christmas Day, man. You gotta get the eyeballs in, man. So I want everybody just to see you in your greatness, King. All right. And then we're going to talk about Drake. Speaking of, I don't know. That was not intended to be a petty, shady remark about then we're going to talk about Drake. But I definitely going to talk about Drake and the lawsuits. Y'all know me. I'm not into mess. So that's just the timing of me looking at the run of shows. Like, oh, yeah. And then also we're going to talk about Drake. All right. Y'all ready to go? Let's do it. Let's get it, folks. Wait, let me see if Instagram is talking any trash about anything. Fu says, oh, I thought this was about tech or politics. Bye, Mike. food. I love that. She was like, yo, I'm out. Maria, I love basketball. The Thunder off needs to be studied. That is very, very, very true. Ohio State. Okay, Ohio State's into the building. All right. So really quickly with the political aspect of it, what we're going to touch base on what happened yesterday was, remember we talked about the three measures, the bills that Congress is going to be looking at. One was about the veto, that deal with the clean water and then deal with the tribal lands. And then the other thing that we're going to be looking at is the ACA subsidies. And then the third thing that we were going to be following was the War Powers Act. The War Powers Act did pass the clearing to move forward with debate next week. Enough Republicans did come over procedurally in order to advance that legislation, in order to ensure that President Trump would consult, not even consult, get permission from Congress to give him authority in order to do any further acts of war or any other maneuvers into Venezuela. What that signaled is that there are Republicans who are willing to not accept and give President Trump carte blanche on all policies, and they are not willing to obfuscate their roles and responsibilities as Congress. Also, too, I think that is their ability and their way of trying to dive deeper into making it abundantly clear that this is about congressional authority needs to authorize any acts of war, because again, every president in modern time period has been able to maneuver their way around the legalese aspect of having Congress grant authority. And so that was what it was signaling yesterday, is that unequivocally they're doubling down that President, not just Trump, but even going forward, must come to Congress in order to get authorization to move forward with war. The second thing with the vetoes, there was not enough votes in order to override the vetoes, right? We talked about this, though. That is a tall order in order to come up with the 2/3 of the vote that is needed in order to override the vetoes. That's no different than anything about in your state legislature in order to override the veto of the governor. It's just a tall order. And I love the way that the founders set that up, the framers of the Constitution set that up. I just think that at some point, there needs to be a case study on the framing of our Constitution and how our founding fathers came together, and that they were imperfect gentlemen. I want to be very clear about that. They were imperfect people, but somehow they found a way to create an incredible social experiment on democracy. And I think they did their best with what we call those like decision trees, like in those if-then statements, right? If this happens, then this. Well, if this happens, then that. And I think they did a really great job with trying to create this balance of power so that things don't go unchecked and that there are things in power. So if a president does veto essentially what Congress has issued, right? Essentially vetoing the will of the people, how then, can the people get it back? Right, from the president, because essentially a Congress is there on behalf of the people. But what the founders were saying was that, but that's still a very tall order, because we do want to make sure that the president of the United States has the authority that is needed, because I'm saying he, because we haven't had a female yet, so that they have, because they've been voted on by the people as well, right? And so in that way, it's a balancing act. And so if you are going to go against the will of the people who put the president in place to make these decisions, it has to be an extremely tall order in order for that to pass. And so I do support the threshold of overriding a veto. I do respect that. And then the other thing that we have to look at in terms of passing was the ACA tax subsidies. So that was able to pass in the House. Again, enough Republicans were able to come over. And what that vote allowed was essentially giving those Republicans who are in vulnerable districts heading into the midterms cover that they understand that healthcare is expensive, the affordability aspect of it, that they are not tone deaf, that they are listening to the American public. So Speaker Mike Johnson really had to do a balancing act of adhering to the party, which is Trump and the wishes of President Trump, while also protecting his members and of his caucus to ensure that if they are vulnerable districts, that they are able to at least go on record with the vote saying they support the ACA. Because ultimately, Speaker Mike Johnson knew that this bill as is wasn't going to pass in the Senate, right? And so what this also too is signaling to the Senate is that this may not pass as is, but there needs to be some type of legislation created in order to roll back and pull back these subsidies, to allow healthcare to be cheaper, right? Essentially, that's what it is. The Senate is at an impasse because of the fact of the Republicans. They have their own things, ideas that they want to bring to the table about how they're imagining healthcare. In particular, they don't want 3 years, to which the Democrats are coming from. They don't want a minimum. They want to make sure the Hyde Amendment is in there, making sure that people are not able to use this for the abortion dynamics. But then also, too, the Democrats are saying we need 3 years. And so there's going to be a lot of negotiations. But I think what this is saying to the Senate is that negotiations need to happen because this is a serious issue when it comes to that. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but it's also too gamesmanship that both sides are operating on. So as we said yesterday, it wasn't really about the policies, right? This came down to procedures and positioning and authority and who has it and who doesn't. That's why we really did that big deep dive on Wednesday with you all, so you can kind of get a preview of what that was. All right, questions, comments, concerns, because now I'm about to head over to what happened last night with Miami and the Hurricanes and Ole Miss, right? And Teddy, I'm looking at you. Brett says, can he appeal the War Act bill to the Supreme Court if it is passed to the Senate? So that's going to be a really interesting question. So we are really into a conundrum, if you will, from a constitutional perspective, and also to from a legal perspective, and also to from a Robert's Rule of Order perspective, in terms of who has the ultimate control, right? Because when these acts are passed, the president essentially needs to sign them into law, but then also too, he can veto, but then also too is then whose turn and whose responsibility is it to override that dynamic? There could be a situation where the president with the Department of Justice and Solicitor General could appeal to the Supreme Court on their behalf in the lawsuit, depending on who ultimately is it. So a lot of times, a lot of things are going to go to the Supreme Court, but typically the reason why I say it's a legal dynamic that's a little bit of a conundrum is prior to Trump, when the Supreme Court has issued rulings, when Congress had held the line and has put the guardrails in place, the presidents typically acquiesce, even when they don't like it. But we've heard the president say so often, even with Supreme Court rulings, that they are going to do what they want anyways, right? Kind of what does that look like? And so this is just an uncharted territory that we're in. And so what I do appreciate about the question, and a lot of these type of questions I do get, is that we are asking these questions from a previous administration of presidents past. It does not include Trump. So then you throw the Trump variable in, and it just makes it a very difficult question to answer directly about what is. Because one thing that's been interesting about the founders of the framers of our Constitution is that there was this inherent understanding that the checks and balances would be there, and there was this inherent understanding that the American public didn't want a monarchy, and that Congress wouldn't want a monarchy, and so there would be bending democracy to the will of the people. But they didn't, so things weren't as thought out, well, what happens then if Supreme Court issues a ruling, but then the president, you may get a Trump who won't respect those rulings. Well, in that situation, the Department of Justice will be activated to enforce the ruling of the Supreme Court, but who's in charge of the Department of Justice? Trump, the president, right, in terms of the appoint. So it becomes this really cyclical dynamic that the framers of our Constitution didn't think all the way through. That's the interesting part, because our democracy has always been an agreement, if you will, like an understanding, a gentleman's handshake. Democracy isn't law, right? And so democracy only works when these balance of power are in existence, and there are people respecting those boundaries. So I hope that makes sense in a very unprecedented space and time that we are in. If any other questions or comments, if not, I'm going to go. It makes sense. Okay, good. I'm glad that it makes sense. It's a really great question. Again, we're just unprecedented time. But Teddy, you're up. Teddy Lambie from Miami. If you are there, Teddy Lambie, wave your hand. Teddy Lambie, please come to the stage. So last night, if you guys had the chance to watch, we saw the University of Miami take on Ole Miss. That was an incredible game. If you notice the first three quarters, the University of Miami pretty much had the game in their control. The momentum was on their side. They were setting the tempo. Anything that Ole Miss were able to get, it was pretty much because of penalties and mistakes that Miami was making, not so much great offense that Ole Miss was doing. And then all of a sudden, in the first quarter, the momentum began to change. Ole Miss came back strong, and momentum was on their side in a really major way. I got a text from a buddy of mine who went to the University of Miami, and he texted me. He said, "I am about to vomit." And it was probably about the last 2 minutes. And I laughed, and I wrote back. I was like, I understand what that means, because when I went to the Rose Bowl game when Michigan was playing against Alabama in the semifinals, and if we won that game, we were headed to the national championship. The last 2 minutes, I physically got sick. I physically felt that I was going to vomit. There is something when your team, your alma mater, the thing that you love, is getting so close to that championship game. You can feel it. You feel like it's your year, and just one thing could ruin this whole journey to the championship. Like, you actually could get sick to your stomach. I've never had that feeling experience happen. So Miami, I understood. Teddy, how was your nerves bad? Did you feel comfortable like the entire game? Did you feel like at any moment it was in jeopardy of Miami was in jeopardy of not advancing? Talk to me a little bit more about that. Teddy, everyone, is our number one guy here at the MuseRoom. That's right in the morning and everything else, ABC. Teddy is just an incredible human being who went to Miami, who's been harping on me about Miami for the last 4 years, Kat. And so I'm so happy for you. But ultimately, Miami pulled it out in an incredible way. And I think it's just such a very storybook moment because of the fact that they get the chance to go back to Miami and play for the national championship in their own backyard, in their hometown. Like, what an incredible moment that is. But also, too, if you look at Lane Kiffin, the coach from Ole Miss, he took the job at LSU. So there's lots of variables that are at play here. They have a new coach that they were working with. Although he was a previous coordinator before Lane Kiffin removed, he did get promoted to head coach, but he's still not the head coach that had been coaching these players throughout this season. Some other coordinators went with Lane Kiffin too as well. So I want to make sure that I give Ole Miss the proper analysis, is that they weren't playing with the same team that they entered the playoffs with because of the coaching changes and the coaches' dynamics. But also, too, another note that I find very interesting is that no matter who wins tonight between Indiana and Oregon, the Big Ten is going to be in a national championship game. And for the second year in a row, there will be no SEC school in the national championship game. That is a statement. And that's not me standing on my Big Ten square. That is me really, if you look at the data, you guys know I'm in data and what trends and patterns are saying, the SEC, there's a shifting dynamic of the SEC's perceived, and I do say perceived, dominance in college football. I think the SEC has always been able to get the default that they're the best conference in college football. And I'm not going to overextend and be too polyamorous, too naive about this. The SEC has always been strong. They've been an incredible tough conference. When Alabama was strong, right? When Georgia's strong, Georgia's strong. Georgia, but there's some reason about Georgia, when it really counts, it comes down to it, they can't seem to get over that hump to really go to that national championship game, the difficulty of beating Alabama in the past. And so I want to make sure that I give the SEC the proper due. But everything in life, and particularly in culture and sports, is cyclical. Like, you're up 1 minute and then you're not. Like, you can't stay up forever. That's just not possible. The New England Patriots, Tom Brady, they had a run, right? We're looking right now at the Kansas City Chiefs. You have a run, right? So, like, you can't stay on top forever, right? Things are going cycles and cyclical things. And we're going to talk about transfer portal and NIL deals, which is causing that shifting dynamics. And so I just think that, I don't know if college sports, I wouldn't say, I don't want to speak in, I never speak in absolutes, but I'm going to say right now the shift has occurred to the Big Ten. And I think the shift in the strength is going to be at the Big Ten for a while, particularly if you look at the amount of money that the Big Ten schools have when it comes to private equity, when it comes to their collectives, when it comes to the type of money they have from NIL deals. I'm talking about Oregon. I mean, that's just backed by Nike, basically. I mean, who's messing with that? You got Mark Cuban pulling up with like Indiana. I mean, and you got Michigan. We're just Michigan, right? Enough said about that. Enough said about that, man. So the Big Ten's pockets are extremely deep. And so with the pockets being extremely deep, that means we have the money to be able to get the players that we want. And a lot of Big Ten schools have the brand recognition that makes it appealing even for like merchandising and for media rights, right? Like USC's in the Big Ten, UCLA, like those are big brand name schools. And so people want to tune in to see those games and media rights. And so that's why I really believe that the shift is now occurring, moving to the Big Ten. So no matter what, we're going to see the Big Ten game win. I'm really happy for Miami with that one, but let's go Indiana tonight. Indiana, Oregon. That is going to be a big game tonight. I am definitely of the mindset and the belief that Indiana is going to pull this off. I really do believe that. I just talked about Miami. I'm really part of Miami. That team is amazing. Malachi does is a talent like any other. I love his story. Carson Beck, I thought it was so almost Shakespearean that he had the ball to run it into the touchdown at the end with the challenge that he's faced with his elbow, transferring from Georgia, right, taking on his new team and be able to get that team into the championship, really redefining Miami's football program and really putting them in a position not only to be successful this season, but I think Miami is going to have a successful run the next couple of years. I think part of that transfer portal, a lot of people will be looking at Miami and have an interest in coming to Miami. But with that being said, there's just something about Indiana. It's hard to put this into context. And, I'm sure there's analysis out there that could be done of why to make the case that Indiana, should win. But I'm going to go, I think you guys know me. I do a lot of anecdotal dynamics. And I think it's a feeling, right? And sometimes you just can't describe it. And I'm only drawing upon the experience of when Michigan went to the national championship. I want to be very clear. I actually, before Michigan went to the national championship, we were in the playoffs 2 years in a row prior to the third year of us winning. And me and Shamel, we went to every playoff game. And the first year we got into playoffs, I said, we're not going to win. And that's me talking. I stand for Michigan all day. I said, we're not going to win, but definitely we should go to experience our first time getting into the playoffs in this new system. The second time we got into playoffs, I would like for us to win, but I don't know if we're going to win. I would like for us to win, but I don't know if we're going to win. The third time we got into playoffs, I said, we're winning. I was like, this is our time. There's just something you feel. You feel like this is your time. And I just had this feeling about Indiana that this is their time. Indiana Hoosiers is not a football school. It has never been a football school. Again, I keep using absolute words. At once upon a time, it was a football school, but it has not been a football school in the modern era. And they have been at the bottom of the Big Ten for years, right? Good at basketball, but football, they've been the bottom of the Big Ten for years. So then you mean to tell me, like, out of nowhere, they had a great showing last season, but out of just nowhere, they have this incredible season. They have this incredible coach that has been able to coach their players to exactly where they are. And then they also, too, have this incredible quarterback in Mendoza, who's literally going to go number one or number two, Heisman Trophy winner, who is leading this team in an incredible way, who is so calm and collective under pressure. When this guy gets into pressure situations and the game's on the line and nerves are bad, he just has a way of locking in and settling in and being calm in the pocket and stay focused on his targets and stay focused on the play at hand and not getting ahead of himself. I don't know. There's a feeling that I just think that it is their year. It reminds me of that movie Rudy. You guys remember that movie Rudy Cat from Notre Dame? I just feel like Indiana as a whole is Rudy. I really do. I just feel like that Indiana as a whole is Rudy, and I'm rooting for. And I like Oregon. This is nothing anti against Oregon. I think Oregon is great. I think Oregon has the best uniforms in all the sports. Like, again, insert Nike. I've never seen so many different colors of green, right? I mean, they could wear like different uniforms every day if they wanted to. But I really respect Oregon, but I just don't, it's not Oregon's time. It's not their year. And I definitely don't think, I think Miami has gone as far as Miami is going to go. Teddy, I'm so sorry. But I'm definitely not a believer of Miami. So what are your thoughts? Who are you guys locking in on? Who do you guys want? Are you rooting for Miami? Do you think Indiana's going to win tonight? Do you think Oregon is going to win tonight? Like, who is your horse? Who's your team? Who are you rocking with? Who are you banking on? And then we're going to get to the NIL and the portals and all that fun stuff. Let me know. Anybody? Mendoza is Miami native as well. Oh, that's very true. That's very true. Kat is a big fan of Mendoza.
Hi, Mendoza.
Yeah, she's a really, really, really big. Yeah, smart kid. Loves his mom. Great story. Yeah, we love stories here. We love a good story. We are storytellers here. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Okay, we got some people rooting for Miami over here at Instagram. So Instagram is Miami. Caesar says, you already know Noob IU all the way. That is very true. For background information on that, Indiana University is the school where Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated was founded at. In January 5th, 1911, on the campus of Indiana University. So that is our Alpha chapter. That's another reason for me to root for IU. Yeah. So like this is it. But I just really want to talk about, I think, and I see somewhere in the comments about this is the shift because of NIL. I really do want to talk about that NIL and the transfer portal. And as we begin to talk about the NIL and the transfer portal, I want to just have a major like level set with you all. For so long, we have looked at college sports, and in particular, I want to be very clear, football, and then basketball second. And shout out to all the non-revenue sports. I love volleyball. I love softball. Love baseball. Love swimming. Went to all the games at Michigan. Yeah, I mean, like I did it all. I have so many friends of mine, athletes who are wrestlers, gymnasts, volleyball, like all the non-revenue sports. I love that. It was always like before NIL was possible, before students started making money, this was all about these athletes should be so thankful that they get a chance to play and get a scholarship. They should be so thankful they're getting a scholarship to go to school for free. They should be so thankful they're getting a degree. They should be so thankful. And I never sat comfortable with that because of the fact of you had coaches back then. This was, let's just say 5 years ago. Let's just predate this 5 years ago. You had coaches 5 years ago, like making millions of dollars per year. And these kids couldn't even get like a $5 gift certificate to go to like Applebee's, right? That's illegal. A lot of these students, I'm calling them kids, but they're students like 18, 19-year-old. A lot of these student athletes, they were having difficulty paying their rent, they couldn't take a job because it's so demanding. And then this idea that, let's look at Michigan, this is an easy example for me to keep using. When Michigan is playing Ohio State, do you guys really believe that week of school, those athletes are in the classroom studying calculus and physics and Shakespeare? We got to be honest with ourselves, right? That is a high pressure week. There's no, I can't say it's authority, but it's definitely not plausible that they are locking in on books and group homework and doing experiments in the nuclear research lab. Like that's just not happening, right? Because the world is waiting for that matchup. Don't forget, they are 18 years old, 19 years old, trying to handle and absorb that pressure, while what's happening too, as well as how much shared collective of the media rights from advertising the conferences are getting as a result of these games that are being played, and then how much the conferences are splitting that money amongst the schools that are in that conference, where at the time those student athletes get a chance to participate in any of that. So you mean to tell me before the playoff system happened, these bowl games, a conference can make like $1 million. Like when a team went to a bowl game back then, and doing like $1 million, $2 million for a lesser tier bowl game, maybe $500,000. The school doesn't get that directly. All that money cumulatively goes to the conferences, and then at the end of the bowl season, before the playoffs, the conferences would then take their pot of money and they would split it amongst the schools equally, and then the schools would then disperse it not to the athletes, but they'll disperse it to the program, to the facilities, and helping the non-revenue generated teams being able to survive and thrive off of the backs of like these football players. It's going to call it off the backs of these football players who are being told that they can't get a $5 gift certificate to Applebee's, right? I'm going a little bit further too with that. Then you want to tell me if this is about academics and this is about scholarship, a lot of the athletic directors don't even report to the president of the university. They report directly to the regents or to the trustees. Whoa, if this is really about academics, why then isn't the athletic director being routed in an org chart to the president of the university that the president is managing the academics aspect of it all? So there's already a disconnect. So that's another false narrative out there. Stop it with that. With that being said, we have to now realize that college sports, and particularly when you get to the D1 level, and in particular when you get to college football D1 level, it is a business, right? We have got to start looking at it as a business. And when we start looking at it as a business, we will be able to solve the challenges that are currently in place with the go at it at all costs, no rules, the wild, wild west of the transfer portal and the NIL deals. Is there a cap? Is there not a cap? Is there ways and workarounds around it? But until we get our mindset out of this traditional college sports structure that they are student athletes, the moment we do that, the moment we recognize that this is a business, the moment then we can create better guardrails and systems in place to where there's more order. I'm going to be very clear what I'm saying, more order in this transfer portal NIL, but that order does not preclude these athletes from making money. Okay, I want to be very clear about that. And if it is about academics, listen, let's keep it in there. If they do transfer around, I think I want to lead with academics and then back out of it. If they want to transfer, and there's an issue with them transferring so many times, I think the rule should be wherever their last school that they attended, that school should allow them to come back to that university at any time to complete their degree, right? That's what I believe should happen. At any time, the last school that athlete transferred to, that university should allow that athlete to be able to come back to campus to complete their degree on their own time at any moment if they are not successful in the NFL or the NBA. Because that student athlete has given their blood, sweat, tears, and their body, I want to emphasize their body, to that university to have people like me, like the alma mater, going crazy, following this team around, about to vomit over 18, 19-year-old dropping a ball that's going to preclude us to go to the NFL so I can scream and brag to my colleagues at work the next day how great Michigan is, right? Kat walked in here with the Indiana University because of our good friend Brett. We love Brett. Brett is a nervous wreck tonight, and Brett is a grown-ass man, right? Worried about what an 18-year-old is about to do on the field. Are you kidding me? This is not about academics, folks. Like, this is what these kids are thinking about. So if they are doing this and we're having this experience with them, we need to be able, academics, allow these kids to come back to finish their degree. That's how we should think about it. If it is about the academics, I'll give you that. Let them come back then. But in the meantime, let they make their money. I added up cumulatively about what these colleges are able, that's going to be the pot collectively from the college playoff system. This isn't even the bowls that exist outside of the college playoff system, because there was 1,000 of those per day. Shout out to all 1,000 of them. We played in one of those. Michigan did. The Pop-Tart Bowl. We love a good Pop-Tart Bowl. It's great. Over $100 million cumulatively will be dispersed for the total pot of the college football. After that would be divided amongst the conferences that got their teams in there. And then those conferences were then divided amongst the schools, and the teams will have nothing. The players are not going to see any of that. So you mean these players who are going to play, well, I think the game goes, the championship games are January 19th, let's say they start in September. Football season starts in September. I'm ignoring training camp. I'm just thinking about like the semesters, Michigan on semesters. I know some of you guys have done quarters, right? But like they start their semester in September. The first game is usually Labor Day weekend, so September 1, 2, or 3. So from September 1, 2, or 3, the two teams are going to national championship. They're playing all the way to January 19th, and you expect them not to get any money off of that? Like, that is crazy. So now they're in their second semester now. Michigan technically is in the second semester, and schools are doing their semester process. They're starting their second semester. So the players are now in their second semester of school, and they're still playing football. They're still putting their bodies at risk. It's a physical dynamic. I know baseball is long. I know basketball is long, but playing football is a different type of physical dynamic. There is a large chance for like not just career-ending injuries, but injuries that could cause extreme bodily harm that could impact these guys for a lifetime. And you want to extend the season even more for these playoffs. Now there's talk about extending the playoffs to a 16 team. They're going to have a 24 team. So we're not going to finish the college football season to March, right? Right before March Madness. Like, it's insane for us to have this conversation of these kids getting played. And y'all mad about the transfer portal and the NIL, these kids making money. Make it make sense for me, because right now it's not. The other thing that's not making sense for me is how March Madness, the media buy, when you combine the men's and the women's, because now the women's are part of this now, thank God, because they're exciting as hell and they're balling out of control, and the ratings have been higher, and it's crushing, and it's good transfer into a good feeder system into the WNBA, and it's locking us into WNBA. Over $1 billion in media rights. Are you kidding me? $1 billion, and y'all talking to me about these kids should be also thankful they have a scholarship and getting a degree and they get a chance to learn about Shakespeare and physics? No. $1 billion? Like, this is money. So with that being said, it's no longer about academics, folks. That student athlete model is gone. And that's tough to say. And y'all know me, I'm pro education. I am pro learning. I am pro all things. I'm pro STEM. But I'm also too understanding, as a fan that I am, and the expectations I have on our University of Michigan winning. Teddy has been on my back for 4 years about 18-year-old, 19-year-olds. And I don't blame him. I'm worried about the 18, 19-year-olds. I'm going to go further. I'm worried about the 16-year-old 5-star recruit. All right. Are we getting that guy? You see what I'm saying? Like, this is nonsense that we keep thinking about. We're so thankful that they should be thankful to get an academic education. The game has just changed, folks. Right. What I do want to talk about as well is the transfer portal. This season, over 4,500 athletes, football people had football. Excuse me, slow it down. I get so excited. Over 4,500 football players have entered into transfer portal this year. That is a huge number, right? And again, I support it. This is amateur free agency, right? If you are, because look, the way we recruit, and I can't talk about all football teams, right? But if you're an established D1 football program, you have a big depth chart because of the fact that you can, right? So you may have 3 quarterbacks, right? You may have like 3 running backs. You may have like 3 wide receivers, right? And the idea, if I'm number 2 and I'm number 3, and I just saw number 1 go off this season, I'm like, I got to use my talent elsewhere so that I can do a couple of things. 1, get more playing time. 2, get money. And only I'm going to get more money if I'm getting more playing time. And then I need to get more money, get more playing time. I also need to think about the school I want to transfer to make sure that they are getting on television, right? And their games are televised, and their games are televised in the right moment, so I can get more visibility, so I can get more money, and I can also advance my chances of getting into the draft. Before it was all about getting visibility to get into the combines, to get into the draft. Now it's about visibility for the combines and for the draft, but it's also too for NIL deals and commercials and being visible, right? And so, but if I know I'm number 2 or number 3 on the call sheet, as we say in Hollywood, I'm not playing. So I need to transfer, right? I need to transfer to a team that is more advantageous to my style, a team where I can has a better NIL collective I can get more money from, right? Because these players are watching numbers the way that I'm watching the numbers, right? And they should be able to get paid for that, right? And so I do support that transfer portal. But now I think what we need to do is to establish when that transfer portal is. They tried to solve for it this year. And look, I'm not getting on the NCAA. I can't get on them for all things, right? Because this is just so new. So I want to be careful with this too as well. Like, it's just so new, but we do have to figure these things out. The idea was to do the NIL transfer portal these second and third week. I think, forgive me of the dates, but like January 2nd, I think it closes on January 16th. Double check that one. But the point is they want to create the 2-week window. That's a better way to say it. A 2-week window to be in early part of January, where everybody can start transferring. Then the idea was season will be over, going into the playoffs. Teams could kind of figure out the structure and the strategy of when they want to get the players, but then they can also focus on the strategy for the bowl games, and they can still have the fans can still have an enjoyable experience watching the playoffs. But that's not happening, right? Like it's all about the transfer portal. It's all about working in and creating the strategies and the gamification in terms of how to get your students, even if your team isn't in the playoffs. So I thought for me is like, then why don't we just do the transfer portal at the end of the playoff season? As soon as the national championship game is over, then we open up the playoff portal system so then we can get ready for the spring games. They can start getting ready to go into like their summer break and the summer camps. And then we can head into the fall with more certainty on that one. And then we need also to lock in coaches so that coaches also too can't transfer, right, or get recruited, because you start seeing all of these coaches. I mentioned Lane Kiffin. He left Ole Miss to go to LSU, right? And his team is still advancing into the playoffs. But when he leaves, players want to follow him. So a lot of people are entering the transfer portal in order to get transferred to LSU. You got some people wanting to go to Penn State. I can go on and on with naming coaches and naming schools, but just the overall idea, though, is that athletes now and football players are just not entering the transfer portal in order for themselves to transfer to another school. They're also entering the transfer portal to transition to and follow a coach that they like. And if they think that that coach is more amenable to their style of play, or that coach has guaranteed them that they will be able to do and have times. The other challenge thing about this as well is that the players are not the idea of what is binding, right? Like you have some players who have like a binding agreement to go to, University A, right? But then University B has offered them something better. So there really is situations out there now where that athlete now has gone to University B, but University A is like, yo, I thought we were binding, right? So now they're suing and there's lawsuits. Like, what does that mean? So maybe they need to put things in protocol in place that if you do enter a binding agreement, that you can't transfer it like for another year, right? Until after that season. So I do believe that we do need some stability and some continuity. But in the stability and continuity, we have to make sure that we do not limit the players' ability to be able to make money, and we do not limit the ability of these players to leave and transfer schools that they feel is more advantageous for them in order to get those areas that I mentioned: NFL draft look, combine look, and NIL deals, right? I think that is really important and critical, and that's where we are. I haven't even got to football, NFL yet, so I need to transition to football real quick to the NFL, but
You have 8 minutes.
I have 8 minutes, but throw it up there. Let me know what y'all thoughts are about like the NFL thing. I'm at the table with Drake until next week, so Drake isn't going to come up right now. I'm sorry for all the Drake stands out there. I love me some Drake too as well. All 4 quarterbacks in semifinals are transfer portals, and it helped. Absolutely. Like the transfer portal is what it is, and I think colleges should be able to go into the transfer portal and get what they want. But the other it's a free agency. The NBA, the college basketball is a whole different dynamic. I'll talk about that next week because that's almost a different type of gamification and rules and regulations than what we're seeing for football. But this is clear free agency. They have a right to go, but let's just kind of clean it up and so that we create some continuity. And look, folks, I get it. All you diehard college football fans, you want the good old days and the golden era of college football, and it isn't the same anymore. I get what you're saying, but it's a new game. It's a new era. It's a new place, and the quality on the field is so good as well. Like as a fan, we're actually having a better experience. Well, if your team is winning, you are having a better experience. But just as a casual viewer, the product in the field is so great because of the way like these transfer portal selections have been done. We want to make sure that we ensure that students do get the chance to play as well. Wow. Wild card weekend is here from the NFL. There is talk about this coaching carousel and what is going to be available, the number of coaches that are available versus number of teams that showed interest. There are 7 coaches available that have been fired. There are 8 teams, I guess, that have showed interest in Jim Harbaugh in particular. Not Jim Harbaugh, that's Michigan. Sorry, my bad. John Harbaugh. I got Chargers. I got Harbaugh in my mind, Michigan. Sorry about that, folks. But here we go. But the reason I thought about Harbaugh is I wanted to just lead off with Harbaugh. As you guys know, Harbaugh was let go from the Ravens. And I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Harbaugh is a fantastic coach. It was a good system that they had going on with the Ravens. But I definitely think that it comes down to, I do want to insert this. My idea about this is that part of the reason that we're seeing so many coaches enter this revolving door is because a lot of these teams have such great star quarterbacks. And when you have great star quarterbacks and you have a great star roster, the expectation is we need to be in the playoffs and we need to be winning with these star quarterbacks and with these star valuable assets that we've surrounded the quarterback with. And so it's being viewed now as if you aren't able to coach these assets. So then, therefore, you need to leave. I'm really thinking about the dynamic with Lamar Jackson and what that looks like, right? And the push-pull tension between Lamar and Harbaugh, right? And the owners and the general managers. And was there time and patience? We're in an era of like social media days and technology. We want instant gratification. We need to be in the playoffs immediately, right? Like, as soon as we draft the number 1, whoever draft Mendoza, that fan base is like, we need to be in the playoffs, right? If we're not in the playoffs, fire the coach, or Mendoza isn't good as he used to be, right? There was a time where we allowed development. There was a time where we allowed things to kind of play out. But now, like, if you got a star quarterback, you got some incredible assets around that star quarterback, and you keep coming up short, your days as a coach is really numbered. But I do believe, with that being said, Harbaugh would do well with the Giants. I think Harbaugh should come to New York Giants. I'm not even a Giants fan like that. I respect the Giants. I love the Giants. As you know, I'm Eagles fly. More so Jalen Hurts guy. I also, too, I'm a big Lamar guy, but Jordan Love, too, as well. I digress. The point being, I think the Giants have everything that works in the favor of Harbaugh. They have a really good quarterback. They have a really good running back. They have some really good assets. The Giants had a difficult year this season because of injuries that happened really early on. They weren't able to get their footing right. But I think if everyone comes back healthy, I think those are really incredible assets for Harbaugh. And New York City is just a media market, right? There's this incredible exposure for Harbaugh. I don't know how long Harbaugh has left in him to keep coaching, but let's say he does have a successful run here in New York City. That's a great way to kind of cement his legacy, right? And one thing about New York, as long as you're winning, as long as you're doing good by the city of New York is going to do good by you, right? And they're going to love you. And that'll be an incredible way for you to go out. I can't say I'm mad about Pete Carroll. I've just never been really a fan of that guy. I don't know where he's going to land, if he lands, if he's done or not. But again, just wanted to just do some analysis on where I think and viewpoint of why coaches are at the revolving door in the short amount of time that I have, and why I believe that development is no longer patience. We talking about me not having patience. These owners are not having patience at all. And so with that being said, I want to go to the playoffs. Sorry I had to hit and quit everything, but that college took up so much because there's so much nuance to it, right? It's the NIL, it's a transfer portal, right? It's a playoff system, it's the academics. Like, I had to call call out the NCAA, had to call out these universities for allowing these coaches not to report to the president. All right, so I'm going to do a quick round robin here, folks, with Rams at Packers. I got the Rams. Kat, who you got? Rams.
Rams not like the Packers.
I'm sorry, Packers and Bears. Packers. Packers. Yeah, Packers. Yeah. So I got the Packers. Sorry, I got the Rams going pretty far. Sorry about that. That's what I was trying to say. Packers. I got the Packers too. I love the Packers. Some people think the Bears have a strong chance. I'm not knocking the Bears,
They have
but
a strong chance, but the only 2 times that Jordan Love has lost to the Bears is when they've knocked him out of the game.
yeah.
So
Yeah. That Jordan Love, he's a tough one. All right, Kat. So, Kat, Bills at Jaguars. Who do you got?
I gotta go Bills.
I'm going Bills too. I love Josh Allen. Like,
I gotta go Bills.
there's something about a big quarterback who's athletic. I'm just intrigued by large athletes who are athletic. And one day in the MuseRoom, we're going to talk about where we are right now with sports nutrition and athletic training and athletic development. But there was a time when you had like larger players, both in football and basketball, but they weren't athletic, right? I think about the Shaquille O'Neal era. Shout out to Shaq. I love you, Shaq, right? But like Shaq wasn't as athletic as you think about like a Giannis, right? Or like these other large gentlemen. I think there's really something about like a very large quarterback that has the mobility and has the finesse that Josh Allen does. And so I'm really curious about like Josh Allen when it comes to that. This one's about to hurt me. Okay. This is tough for me. 49ers at Eagles. I'll give my opinion. Kat, you want to go first? You want me to go
I'm
first?
going Eagles.
Okay.
It's only because it's in Philly.
Yeah. So Kat's going Eagles. I'm going Eagles because I'm never going to go against my Eagles. But the reason why you saw the hesitation is because the 49ers are tough. I really wish it would have went our way last week. And so we could have got that number 2 seed. But I did not want the 49ers. I'm going to be very clear. I did not want the 49ers. But one thing I do believe in is my Hurts. And Saquon can do some miracles as well. Okay, you want to talk about athleticism? That Saquon is athletic as I don't know what. He can do some miracle things. He can work some miracles when it comes to find the hole, hopping over people. And so I think Saquon's going to give it one more shot and kind of where we are with it. Aaliyah, I'm going to call you right back. I'm doing a show, but I got your note. I think that he is going to pull it. I think they're going to pull it out, but that's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a really tough one. But I got Eagles, though. All right. Chargers versus the Patriots. Chargers for me.
No, Chargers. I gotta go Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers for me. I haven't liked the Patriots since Brady and Gronkowski duo went away.
Could win. I say Chargers because our friend Audrey's son is a coach on the Chargers.
Yeah.
But the Patriots could win the game.
Yeah, I'm going Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to go really far in this playoff run. All right, this is easy for me. Texas at Steelers. I'm going Texans because I am so anti-Aaron Rodgers. So
nope, gotta go Steelers.
Kat loves Aaron. Kat loves Aaron.
Love Aaron, but also Coach Tomlin. It's time. No, I gotta go. I'm going and DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I love Coach Tomlin.
Steelers. How can you hate Rodgers that much?
Oh, I do.
You only hate him when he said he didn't take the vaccine.
No. Aaron always complained. It was everybody but Aaron when he was at the Jets, right? Like, so we had the coach fired. We got the coach fired.
Right about the Jets. The Jets are a horrible organization.
He got all the assets he wanted.
No, the Jets are horrible. They don't know how to run a football team.
Doesn't matter. Aaron got all the assets he wanted. He got the players he wanted, got the coach he wanted, and the coach he didn't want, and he still came up short. Enough of Aaron Rodgers.
See how well he's doing with Tomlin? It shows how bad the Jets are being run.
No, it's Aaron. Yeah, and I think it's time for him to retire. Yeah, but I do love Coach Tomlin. So that was hard for me when Aaron got drafted to the Pittsburgh Steelers because I knew I could no longer support the Steelers, and therefore I was no longer supporting Tomlin. But I love you, Coach Tomlin. You know that I do. You're my guy. Like, you're my guy. You guys get rid of Aaron, you and I are back, my guy. Like, we're doing wings and beer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to pull up on you in Pittsburgh. All right. I think that was all the coverage of the playoffs that we have. Let's see what the predictions are. Yo, let's watch all weekend, folks. Hit me up. DM me at I am Mike Muse, MUSSAME. Let me know your thoughts. It is 2:03, and my God, did we cover it all? Oh, Drake. I'm gonna get at you, my guy, next week. I'm gonna get at you next week, Drake, because this is a larger conversation about gambling and addictive behavior patterns and technology and the ease of it is to do prop betting and so many different things too as well. Hit us up at the Mike Muse. Tongue tied here. Email us at the Mike MuseRoom at gmail.com to get on our list. My boy Blue Sky, Big Sky, don't forget to email me so we can look out for you for your birthday. All right. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you have a great birthday weekend. All right. So I will talk to you guys. Say it loud enough of Aaron Rodgers. Right? You feel me? Oh my God. Justin says it's bang bang Niner gang all day. All right, Justin. All right, we'll see. Holla at your boy on Monday. All right, folks. Peace. We're to end the stream now.